So is that Jimi Hendrix mugshot?
Yeah, and this is Jimi Hendrix playing. So we got good Jimmy and bad Jimmy.
It's pretty cool. Where'd you pick those up at?
I got this at Anonymous in Venice, and then I got this down the street over here. Good find at the fashion show mall. Yeah.
First of all, you're at Mr. Olympia. Tell us how the experience was this weekend.
Oh, it was pretty cool. You know, it wasn't so much like my crowd, so it was like a lot more chill than a lot of these other events that I go to, and it made me feel very little. I don't, you know, I kind of have this complex where I feel like I'm a big buff chick, and I'm definitely not a big buff chick in the realm of big buff chicks. So yeah, I got to walk around feeling like a little lady all weekend.
Were you surprised at how many MMA fans were at the Expo?
Yeah, I mean, it's Vegas, so I mean, you expect to have a lot of MMA people around, but like I constantly had people, I didn't have any break time, but it wasn't like, you know, UFC Fan Expo like boom crazy. So yeah, it was alright. It was cool.
You were hanging out with Brian Stan, Frankie Edgar. How are those guys?
Brian Stan's amazing. Like the guy is like a class act. I think Frankie too. He was like such a sweetheart. Like those guys are the nicest guys. Like genuine nice. You know, there isn't any of that fake cold niceness that's out of them. You know, and I'm lucky that I get to work with guys like that are just easy to be around, because I've had to do signings with some people where I'm just like, oh my god, this is so and so. But they're super chill. I like them.
Alistair Overeem stopped by to say what's up.
Yeah, I had one little lull in my line. I finally got it to the point where I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna get through everybody. I think I'm gonna have a few minutes. And then the second it ended, like Alistair came over and he was like, hi, I'm Dutch, what's up? And then I'm like, god damn it. Like everybody was saying like, Alistair, you know, he's the Mr. Olympia of MMA. So everybody flocked over and I'm like, thanks dude, thanks for filling up my line. And I gotta get back to work. So I thought I was gonna have 1 second to sip a coffee. I mean, that's how it is that you guys would help me out and brought me a coffee, and I only got to drink like 2 sips of it before it was completely melted, because I just don't have 2 breaths to even like, you know, have a moment. You know, it's just constantly like 3 different people trying to talk to you at once for like hours and hours and hours on end. So it's tiring, but it's like very complimenting. You know, it's very cool. But
you always take the time to sign every autograph. You take pictures with everyone. You never turn anybody down. How important are the fans to you? Dude,
the fans are like, they're the reason why I'm not still broke and struggling. You know, I'm not dumb enough to not be grateful. And you know, every one of those people they're human beings. You know, they want to be treated like an actual person and not like some number or somebody holding a card that they have to be spun out. You know, like people don't like to be treated like they're expendable, because they're not. And so I try to be entirely present for every single conversation I have with them. I'm not like ever on autopilot, because I would be offended if anyone did that to me.
Another good friend of yours, John Jones, recently victorious over Vitor Belfort. Yeah. What did Vitor do wrong when he had John in the armbar?
I don't know if he did anything wrong.
Was John just that?
I mean, I would have probably gone out the back the way that Vinny did earlier that night, as opposed to trying to do the armbar straight from that position. I probably would have tried to off balance John towards the front and go out the back and fall off like that, instead of letting him be able to stand up straight and be able to pick up and slam like that. And but I mean, it was just one of those moment things that it was like given to him when he was reacting, and you know, you never know how he would react in a situation like that. I just hope that I would have reacted correctly in that way.
How impressive was it to see John get out of the armbar?
I was really impressed with John's heart. You know, like I think a lot of people don't give him enough credit because he's so athletically gifted. He's so good that he makes it look so easy that people don't really give him that, you know, credit for having like that real fighter warrior spirit, you know. And you could see in his face, you know, he was ready to let it break for his own pride. And I've been in that situation before. That? Yeah, you know, I've had both my elbows dislocated. I know exactly what it feels like. You know?
What does that feel like?
It hurts.
I mean,
it just hurts. It's one of those things where like, I remember when I got armbarred the first time, I just remember being like, well, it's already out, so I might as well just try to get out, because it's not going to get even more dislocated. And that was my thought. And then I tried getting out and went back in, and then she popped out again. So it is possible for it to get more dislocated. Yeah. but I ended up winning that fight. But you know, at the end of it, you're just like, in judo, plus you have like, I had to fight several more times that day. It was a gnarly day, but not everybody has that mentality where they just like, no, you know what I mean? It's like, no, it's not going down like that, you know? And I am very impressed with John, and he's a real champion.
Is it worth it to respect your opponent's health or go for the win?
The fact that you're in there locked in a cage with them, it's kind of saying that you're not respecting their health too much. If you signed a form that said, if I die, I'm not going to sue anyone, well, you're not going to sue anyone because you're dead. But I mean, like, if you have to sign anything that says, in case I die, blah, 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 it probably is not going to be one of those situations, you know? It's just, I don't trust my opponents at all, you know? I've armbarred a girl that was a Mormon that tapped out. I let her go and denied that she tapped out. You know, I have no trust at all. So, to be like, oh, I felt bad. I should have, you know, eased up on the I've lost my pity. Everyone knows what happened at that Sarah D'Aleo match. You know, she was a really, really cool chick. The whole time I felt like, all right, you know, I don't have to dismantle this girl. I didn't cut her in that one arm bar, and it was popping out, and she was falling down, and as she was putting her arm down, she was going tap, 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 and I knew in that second, the second her hand touched the ground, she's screaming tap. If the second her hand touched that ground, her arm would have broke off, you know, and I would have ducked out the back. But instead of ducking out the back, I held my position, you know, and tried to be cool, and then she got up and was, I didn't tap, blah, 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 and later she ended up being like cool and all this stuff, like, oh, you know, it's whatever, but
that was your first flying armbar too, right?
it was the coolest thing I ever made up on the spot, and it just got tainted forever because, you know, I had an untrustworthy opponent.
I don't know if it got tainted forever. I know a lot of people knew that you had her caught and that eventually she was going to get it.
It's tainted to me, you know? My tops card, I'm like about to cry. Like, I was literally like trying so hard not to cry in front of everybody, and like that picture forever, they're like, oh, sign Ronda Rousey tops card, she's about to cry her eyes out, you know? It's just like, it's
really
not
that
big
upset about it?
Yeah, I'm so upset about it that every single girl's arm that I've gotten so far, I've really tried to break it. Like, I felt Sarah Coffin's arm popping. You know, everyone know what happened to Misha, everyone know what happened to Julia Budd, and those are every single fight since Sarah D'Aleo, and I keep telling everybody, I'm like, I'm sure Sarah D'Aleo is a cool chick, but every single arm I break, I dedicate to her, because she's the reason why I don't wait.
Do you feel like there's do you feel like there's a need to win by anything else other than armbar? Do you feel like you have to prove anything?
I feel like there's a need to win with taking as little damage as possible. And that's usually the way that just comes to my mind first. And, like, you know, I said it before, if I was knocking everybody out, people wouldn't be like, oh, she's a one-trick pony, she only does that one thing, she only knocks people out, you know? And it's just like, people don't realize how complicated and complex this and all these different arm bars are. They're all from a different takedown, a different position, and a different start, a different scenario. They all seem very different to me. It's just people that don't know what they're looking at. It looks like all the same to them. Stockton's selection of swerving and slurring sluts. Boom! Stockton's selection of slurring and slurving sluts. Can't do it twice. Can't do it twice. Stockton!
So we're talking about Stockton. Are you planning on heading back there anytime soon?
I don't know how soon. I'm definitely going to go back at some point, but I don't know exactly when. I'm kind of playing everything by ear right now.
What does it feel like to break somebody's arm? Aoki says it's satisfying.
I don't think it's satisfying. It kind of grosses me out. Really. Yeah, it does kind of gross me out. I tell everybody, it feels like tearing apart a turkey with a crotch. It really does.
Can you like feel the bones like and everything like
when you're trying to get like a turkey thing off and you feel the cartilage and bones and tendons coming off and you're pulling it, like it really is that exact feeling, and it's gross, but you know, this is the way it is. They try to do the same thing to me. I've felt it being done to my own arms.
Ron, is there anything you want to tell the MiddleEasy.com readers before we let you go?
MiddleEasy.com readers. You always ask me this. I'm like, what is there to say? You guys are constantly asking me everything. What do I have left over? You know, nothing. I just appreciate your guys' continued interest and support. And for all you guys that, you know, are at least interested enough to talk shit, Keep it up. Whatever. You pay my bills too. Anti-fans.